Good evening. We're going to call to order the Shakopee School Board meeting of February 8th. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Hallett. Here. McKeon.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Romansky. Here. Swanson.
Good evening.
Tucker. Here. And Bowerman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm off my game here. We have two good news items that we're going to start off with tonight, as we like to do. They're both very exciting items. For anyone who's watching tonight or in attendance, those here I think have a good idea what we're going to talk about. But we created a new group called Excellence with Equity. And we're going to have a presentation from that group tonight. This team is designed to help build relationships and close the achievement gap in our students of color. And this team's goal will assist their students in creating a path to excellence in all aspects of life, that's both personally as well as academically, so we're excited about that. And we're pleased tonight to welcome that team, as well as one of our students, senior Isa Diallo, who's going to be with us tonight to talk a little bit about the program, give us an update on some of the successes that they've already experienced thus far. And I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Benton to come forward and get us going.
All right.
Coach, come on
Thank
up.
you. Well, thanks for having us. I don't know if this is where you want me to stand or should I stand here?
Wherever you like.
Good.
You got the floor. You do whatever you want.
All right. I'll take a little beer from music right now. Again, thank you. Our Excellence with Equity work has been going outstanding. I'm so proud to bring Isa Diallo here. She's going to be able to tell you a little bit of her story. Coming in new to the district with my team, let me introduce my team first. If I could have them stand up. You know, have them introduce themselves, right? Wouldn't that be good to hear them talk a little bit here? So,
I'm Bethany Pearson. We've kind of alphabetized ourselves, so I work with students in the A through F alphabet, along with counselor Erica Lane, and then our dean and assistant principal who also work with those students.
Sonia Hellerud, and I do G through L, and I'm happy to be here today. I also coordinated with Ms. Severson, and so we work closely to help our students in any which way we can.
I do. You do S through Z.
S through Z.
We changed it around a bit. S through Z, sorry. Actually, I do all of them. That's why it's hard to remember, because if I have a student walk into the office, I don't ask, well, what is your last name? It's like, how can I help you? Sit down, let's get this figured out.
My name is Juan Mitchell. I work with Beth Cordish, one of the counselors, and just like someone said, we work with all students, no matter what last name they have.
they have all the easy last names. I work with Nicole Shranksevit. Right? Yes. But the one thing I can say about our team, all of us, you heard the alphabet. We work with all of our kids together. If someone is busy with the kid, it's easy for one of us to come over and have a kid come and sit down and talk with us. It's been no different. We all have a different skill set. Bethany has been really good in the gifted and talented area. Sonia with being bilingual with some of our Hispanic students. Juan is from Shakopee and has a great relationship with a lot of kids. Just from the neighborhood with, and his two sons and his daughter, and he has a great relationship with those kids, and myself with not only the football background, but just meeting a whole bunch of kids. So we all, intertwined with each other, and that's been working really well. I think one of the good things that's been going on is learning about equity work. This is the first year of this in Shakopee. It's also the first time with us doing equity work. And one of the first things that we did was to get out, call these parents, and find out what's going on with your kids. This achievement gap, I've talked to a lot of people about it. Is it really a gap? When you think gap, people think small. This is kind of a crisis that's going on across this country right now. And we know full well of this, with the help of Dr. Thompson and some of the things that he's talked about and his initiatives for this district and our kids. It's very serious. And so one thing that we've been doing, we've been partnering with Generation Next, with R.T. Rybach, and some of the things that they've been doing in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And we've kind of taken a lot of their initiatives, and that's what we're bringing here to Shakopee. We plan on to fully implement a lot of those goals and strategies for next year, but even though we're working on those things now, it's a process, right? It's a process. And it's been outstanding. The parents that we have dealt with, we all got little funny stories. I'll give you one funny story. I'm in the hallway one day, there's a fire drill, right? And the kids, some of the kids don't know me, right? I think this is probably the second week of school. And I'm in the hallway and I'm ushering the kids down the hall. And some kids are walking out of class like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Because there's not many of us. And that's, it's sad but true, right? And this African-American girl walks out with her friends, and a couple, Caucasian girls with their couple, and they're like, who is that? And then she's like, girl, you don't know? Now they got counselors for the colored people now. I said, hey, come here. What are you talking? Come here. So I talked to them a little bit like, no, first we don't use that. And we're here for everybody, you know what I mean? But I told our team that they were just like, oh my gosh. But it's for me not to even know Issa at all. And just to let you know before I bring her up, how I met her, her brother. We all had a list of kids when we first got to the district of some kids that might need a little bit of our help, and that we need to make a call. So I talked to her mother extensively before school even started about her son, okay? At that time, Issa was living in Atlanta, planning on going to school at Atlanta Public School, and was not coming back here at all. And I was speaking with her mother about her son, and she talked a little bit about her daughter and some of maybe the needs that she was going through, and some of the things that were going on in her life. And she asked me would I call her daughter in Atlanta. And she gave me her phone, and I called her in Atlanta to try to see if there's anything I can do to get her on track of some things that she was having, she was out there a little bit. Not in a bad way, but she needed some focus. Yes? She needed some focus. And I talked to her, and I think it was a week later, she shows up in my office, and I'm here. And I was like, whoa, And she said, your conversation meant a lot to me, and and I'm here now, and I'm going to go on. So I won't ruin anything else. I'll have her come up. She, before this happened, a month ago, we were going to do this meeting, yes?
Yeah.
There were kids, we all said we're all going to find one kid at least to come do this. We had like 6, 7 kids lined up, like, I want to speak. And I said, they don't have time for all that. We're just going to bring one in. And so we chose Issa, so welcome Issa Diop.
Mr. Benton. How are you guys today?
Good.
That's good. Well, first of all, I would like to start off and thank you guys for having me at this meeting. I wasn't one of the students that wanted to speak. They just kind of came to me and I was like, sure. All right, so I really appreciate your time for hearing what I guess you could call my story or journey. The equity team has definitely helped me out. Usually I'm not the type of person to seek help. I just sort of deal with my problems and situations by myself or take naps, which is really efficient, so I definitely recommend it. Back to the actual subject though. The beginning of October has just been horrible. I lost a close friend of mine in a shooting here in Shakopee, and that really hit me hard because I usually don't deal with death. That was my first time dealing with it. In addition, me and my mother's relationship was not the best at the moment. So as a result of this, I saw my grades gradually decreasing, and my motivation for simple things such as going to school, doing homework, studying, decreased tremendously. I don't know whose idea it was to bring in an equity team, but I can definitely assure you that it's the most beneficial addition to the Shakopee staff, in my opinion at least. Coming from a suburban yet still a metro area high school is very different. Usually diversity isn't a problem, it's pretty prevalent. However, a couple of weeks being enrolled into the Shakopee High School, I found myself counting how many students of color were in my classes. It was actually my way of wasting time, but still, I was like, wow, I'm the only black kid in my class. I'm not used to that. Usually, like, there's a lot of Latinos or, Asian kids here, just it was a lot of diversity with me growing up in metro area high schools. So it was mid-junior year when I came to realization that the school, staff, and administration lacked diversity. And having counselors of color and from different backgrounds is so efficient. It has impacted the culture of the school in a positive way. And the reason for that is because minority students, in my opinion, are more likely to speak about their personal issues with a person they have a cultural connection with. And I've definitely had like experience with this because like sometimes I would talk to my counselor, with slang, for example, with issues that she probably wouldn't know how to approach. Whereas when I, approach Mr. Benton in a way, I can sort of like, word those things out and he would help me out. I'm not trying to demean the other counselors at all though. They're all great, trust me. You may be wondering, well, what's your source? Where's your evidence? The feedback of the students, of course. I ran into 2 students, one that utilizes the equity team and one that doesn't. And I asked them, what did they think of an equity team being brought into the high school? So I sort of like explained like, what an equity team is, and they were like, oh, really? And here are some statements made by them. One student said, I feel like having a more diverse environment will create a comfortable atmosphere for everyone, to be really honest with you. Another student said, non-POCs, in other words, people of color, will most likely not be able to understand the adversity that students of color may face. Both of these students obviously support the idea of an equity team. Overall, I appreciate the equity team a lot. I utilize them like every day. For example, like I have senior release. In other words, I am given that option to leave the school early, and I don't have to stay at the school. However, you will always catch me in the Career Center just, chilling in his office or just talking to Miss Pearson like about anything, honestly. And I could definitely like tell you that they're great. Like I love them, honestly. I hope they also like provide the same, equity team for the middle schoolers as well, because I feel like it will be beneficial. So I believe that's all I have for you guys. And yeah, thank you.
Last thing I'll say is that that's not easy for a lot of students to speak, not only in front of adults, but in her world, to strangers. So I want to say you did a fantastic job. She's in the CAPS program. She's in the health services, right?
Yes, the healthcare.
And we're trying to push her more into marketing, things like that. She's very, she's not shy. So that's what she thinks. So if there's any questions for me about anything, I know we have we've got registration tonight at the open house we need to get back to, but I'm here to answer any questions that you have, any concerns or any, anything that you guys would have. I know, long meeting, yes, no.
No, just a comment, and it's a thank you both, to the students who are taking advantage of our staff, and a thank you to the staff for developing those meaningful relationships, because what we do know, where the evidence is at, is when there is a significant adult in a relationship, the student themselves will do better at school, and we know that. And if the color barrier happens to be a part of the obstacle getting in the way of success, then I think we're taking the steps in the right direction by providing staff who do look like our student body and are more diverse. And I would say, Ray, we do joke, but we also are serious in that is part of our recognition as we move forward as a district, is that we just have a handful of staff who are staff of color. And as we are out and we are recruiting staff and we're looking for staff, we always get the best hire and the best people. We also are looking for staff diversity in our district, and it's really critical to our hiring plan to do that. I would also point out that having more staff at the middle level is in our integration and equity plan. We have to make some budget decisions, but we certainly see the advantage to widening that to get more students this type of opportunity. So I'm proud of the work you guys do. it's definitely one of the wisest investments I believe we've made, so thank you.
Your comments from the board?
I would just like to say thank you for stepping into a role that wasn't quite defined, and you are the ones defining that role, and I know that can be a little bit challenging, but thank you for doing that. And also, thank you for speaking to us tonight. You did a great job.
Thank you.
What else? Isa, I want to say to you in particular, you did a phenomenal job, and
Did you not
you're-
notice how nervous I was?
No. Not at all. And you, seriously, in fact, it's funny, Coach, you were talking about getting into marketing, which is what my career is, but I also have a law degree. I could see you on television as a reporter. I could see you in a courtroom.
Yep.
You have incredible poise. And if any of that is a result of working with these folks, then these folks are just making incredible strides. So use them, and thank you for what you guys do, and you did a great job. We're really proud of you, and thank you for being here in Shakopee.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it very much. So that was one good news item, which was a very good news item. We have another one, and this is to recognize and again celebrate one of the just tremendous experiences or occurrences that happened that affects our board, and that's with our own Mary Romansky, who's surprised. That's good. We wanted. We're going to celebrate again this phenomenal accomplishment that was awarded to Mary Romansky by being named to the All-State School Board. That's a major, major accomplishment. She was recognized at the MSBA meeting, article in the paper about it, but we took that a step farther, and I shouldn't say we, really thanks to the administration for doing this, but we had an item put together. We want to recognize that. We're going to take a picture, and I'm going to ask the entire board to take a picture with Mary, surrounding her with this. So Mary, stand up for just a second. We have something we want to give you. Yep, we sure do. Come on over here, board. We're going to get in the corner over here. Come on. You're not going to need to flash with Tony's shirt, that's for sure. Yeah.
I'll stand in front of
Cheat on
Tony.
over, cheat on over. There you go, Mary.
It's funny, the Chiefs man was once saying we were gonna hide
Yeah.
by doing
You want to stand in front of Tony?
No, go ahead.
So, on behalf of the school board, this is the picture from the event where Mary was recognized. This is the, I guess, program guide from the event. And we just want to have you to have another memento of this and tell you how much we appreciate all you've done for Shakopee, for the students of Shakopee for going on 20 years, not quite 20, but going on 20 years. And we sincerely appreciate it and would ask you guys to recognize her with a nice hand as well. Perfect. Thank you, Mary.
Congratulations,
Something else
Mary.
better than that new home. All right, a little bit of business. Do we have any visitors who care to speak to the board tonight? If so, we'd ask you to, come forward and sign in. Seeing none, we'll move on. We have an agenda. Do we have any changes, Rod, to the agenda? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Thank you, Angela. Second. Matt, thank you. Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We have our agenda. Consent, do we have any modifications or adjustments to
No
consent?
adjustments there either.
Okay. I'll look for a motion to accept consent as presented. Oh, Mary? Thank you, Mary. Second?
Second.
Any discussion on consent? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We have consent. All right, moving on to Roger, do you want order?
I don't see any reason why we couldn't, because I think the rest of the folks are all part of the.
All right. So we're going to ask our good friends from SEEP to come on up front. Jack and Steph, one of our great partners with the Shakopee School District, and they've got a great
I don't know,
presentation.
did everyone, was this in your packet or a list of?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very
Yes.
good.
Okay, good. All right, well, I'm the selected one, and I have to tell you, I wish they were still here, because I consider you all friends and am,
up there in age and have had to speak at a few things, and I'm still nervous. And if Sean Hallett cries, I'm going to cry. So I'm just going to warn you out loud. If you see me going like this, that's why. Anyway, good evening. I'm honored to be here tonight representing the Shakopee Educational Endowment Foundation along with Jack. This is the first year for me as a board member of SEAF, and I couldn't be more proud to represent such a wise and generous group of people. For me personally, as a Shakopee alumnus and a parent of students in the district, this is a moment come full circle for me. To serve on this board with some of my own former teachers, Mr. Trimbo, Marlene Larson, Joe Prusich. It's a great privilege, and to be able to give back to the district that played a big part in my own educational development is an honor. The Shakopee Educational Endowment Foundation is in its 26th year of existence with the mission of improving and enriching the quality of education in Shakopee Public Schools. To meet our mission, SEAF provides funding opportunities for projects and needs which are outside the scope of the school district's normal budget by awarding grants to projects which display innovative approaches to teaching and learning. District staff is encouraged to submit grant proposals annually for a single project up to a $2,000 award. The proposals are written by staff and reviewed by building principals or department supervisors for approval before being submitted to SEAF. After the submission deadline of October 31st, the grants are reviewed by the SEAF Board of Directors for consideration. Although it is not possible for SEAF to fund all proposals, and some are only funded in part, for the 2015-2016 academic year, SEAF has selected 37 proposals from the 50 submitted, with funding totaling over $25,000. The proposals funded this year will enhance the educational experience at every school building in the district, and they represent nearly every content area, from math, the sciences, arts, music, social studies, reading and technology, as well as special education and support for programs led by school counselors. The members of SEAF would like to thank the district staff for their guidance in answering questions and providing clarifications about grant submissions. We would also like to thank the outstanding staff who submitted proposals, which are intended to provide innovative ways to create opportunities which enrich the student's educational experience. Shakopee is a community that has long been a supporter of public education, and this fact is evidenced by the generosity shown to this foundation, and in turn the students of Shakopee schools. The opportunity that Shakopee Educational Endowment Foundation has to assist in enriching the educational experience of Shakopee students would not be possible without the support of individuals, families, alumni, district staff, civic organizations, and businesses in our community. We extend our profound gratitude to those who make our work possible. And so, it is my distinct privilege tonight, on behalf of SEAF and the Board of Directors, to present this check for $25,120 to the Shakopee School District. And we look forward to hearing about how the learning opportunities supported by the grant money enrich the lives of our students. Oh.
It's all.
No.
Sure, Jack. Come on. No, Jack. No. Let's step through it.
Good? Okay.
Where my cat is.
Yeah. Nice
So,
check.
any comments from the board for SEAF? I've got some if you don't.
Thank you, thank you, and thank you, and thank you.
Yeah, 25,000, thank you. What SEAF does, and I guess I'm kind of a little torn because I wear both hats, being on SEAF and have been for a number of years. But it's a pleasure to serve on SEAF, and it's a real pleasure to be on the receiving end of what SEAF does, because I know from personal experience how important these grants are in the classroom with kids, on the ground, in their hands. And probably the funnest thing we have to do on SEAF, and hardest, is to review those grants and make those choices. But this is where rubber meets the road, and we thank you very much for time and effort. Please thank the entire board on behalf of us and the entire district. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we'll move on with item 7.1, which is the long-term maintenance revenue for maintenance plan. I think, Mike, you're going to come forward? Yep.
In your packet, there was a capital long-term maintenance projects report. We met at the Finance Committee today and discussed a slight change. There were 2 items in the auditorium that we moved to a more general project. We need a little more information on it, so we want to earmark the money for the auditorium, but not necessarily those projects. They might use those, we might not. So we changed 2.67 on your list, and 2.6 and 2.7 into a more general category. So that would be, but we're still earmarking all the same amount of money for the projects. So again, what we would like to do with the long-term maintenance revenue is replace roofs at West Junior High, and then some auditorium upgrades is what we're recommending. And I guess I'll take any questions.
Questions from the board or comments?
Scott, were you going to comment at all about the impact this will make on the West Auditorium in particular? Would you please?
As far as just the changes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just call out the safety and code items under priority 1 specifically. Just the 1.1 that replaced the stage floor. There are multiple performances that take place in there, both community organizations as well as school organizations. And right now that's actually a safety hazard. There are parts of the floor that are deeply grooved and chipped out, and they pose a great risk for dancers and performers. I can also tell you that things like curtains that need to be rehung and safety and security with respect to lighting and the cables that are being used right now are absolutely necessary. When this particular facility is taken care of and we have made the necessary repairs, it's going to go a long way to leading up to the new high school when that ultimately opens. Junior High West is the only functional stage then for what will be the new middle schools, and so it's not only necessary to put some repairs in, but it's time to make sure that that facility looks like the appropriate gateway into our music and theater spaces that will ultimately end at the high school. So these are not only safety and security and necessary and functionally, but it's also the right thing to do as we make sure that the programming is consistent through the life cycle of the student.
Any questions? So Mike, you're looking for approval of this item, right?
Right, so we can, now what'll happen is we'll go on some, get bids,
Yeah.
like the roof projects will need bids, so it gives us permission to move forward with these types of projects, and then we'll bring them back one more time as we get closer with the pricing, when we know what the pricing is and what's not.
So I would be looking for a motion that will direct administration to use long-term maintenance revenue to repair roofs and address the issues at the West Junior High as have been described and as listed on this form. Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Tony. Any additional discussion on long-term maintenance as presented to us? Great. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Mike, you take your direction. Thank you, Mike. All right, we'll move on to item 7.2, which is the Board of Education 3-year agenda map. Looks like I'm presenting that. I forgot what I'm going to say.
Share that responsibility
That's
with
all right.
you.
I'll first add that. So, for the benefit of folks, especially those who might be watching, you can't see it from here, and that's not important. We'll post this on the website, but it's a grid. It's the kind of thing you would see as part of a strategic plan. And we take planning and the future of the district very seriously as a school board. We spend a lot of time planning, we spend a lot of time discussing, debating, figuring out what needs to be done, what has to be done, what do we want to do. And there are many components, I would suggest, to this thing you would call our strategic plan. There's the mission and vision of the district, there is the strategic objectives that we want to accomplish, these directives that we have in place, we have measures, how we're going to hold ourselves accountable, are we making improvements, etc. And this item is what we call our agenda map, our roadmap for the next 3 years. We've done this in the past, so this is continuation of a prior practice. But it takes 3 years, and it looks at 4 categories. And again, I would encourage you, we're going to post this so folks can see this, but the categories are policy, operational oversight, governance, how do we as a board act and behave, and then public engagement, how do we work with the public. And then across that, you've got 3 years, 16, 17, so next year, 17, 18, 18, 19. And as you might expect, if you were to look at this closely, you would see that in the first year of the 3-year plan, there's a lot of things listed, a lot of detail. Well, that's because it's 1 year out. We know the kinds of things we want to accomplish. We can be very specific about it. And as you move out, the number of items get a little smaller, maybe a little bit more general, because this time next year, we will look at this again, revise it, update it. You know, what have we not got done? What have we accomplished faster than we thought? What do we need to add to the list? So it becomes our roadmap, right, for the next 3 years. So it's a very comprehensive item. I would encourage people to look at it and see strategically where we're headed as a district. And of course, to ask us any questions they may have. So that's what the map is. Again, as a board, we've taken a lot of time to talk this through. I think we feel pretty comfortable with the content. Do we have any other comments that either the administration or board members care to make?
I think just like we evaluate programs and new initiatives, this is how we evaluate ourselves as a board. It's also it's a good document for the board to evaluate me as superintendent as well, because it's a very clear direction, and that's why I really like having an agenda map. We put it out there, we say this is what we stand for, this is what we're going to kind of fund and prioritize. So from an administration standpoint, I really appreciate having an agenda map in our governance model.
Other comments?
I would certainly echo that. I think it's fantastic, and I like you said, like to see the first column, the second column are pretty meaty. I really like looking out 3 years to think that far forward. Now we've done this a few times, and now it's launching new schools. That's something we've been working on for a long time, and so it's just thrilling to see that actually on our near-term horizon. Certainly a lot to do before then, but I'm excited about it.
Other comments? The only one I have is the slightest of, not even a typo, to duplication. If you look at 17, 18 operating oversight, we've got create characteristics of the graduate twice.
Thank you.
Scratch one of them.
Yep.
It's that important.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. All right, so let's be looking for a motion to adopt the school board agenda map as presented with that slight change, which is just a duplication, for 2016 to 2019.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Any additional discussion on our agenda for the next 3 years? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We have our map, and Sarah will assume you'll take steps to get this posted.
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to item 9.1, which is the Ford Next Generation Learning Program, including the letter of commitment and where we're headed with that organization. Rod, I think you want to start that.
Sure, I'll tee it up and then turn it over to you, Reggie. We've spent actually I was going to say a number of months, but actually now it's multiple years preparing for an opportunity to really separate Shakopee in terms of academics, giving our kids the academic edge. We know that our community supported and gave us a pretty clear directive that we're going to support you, and now it's our responsibility to provide the results. What we have in front of us is an exciting opportunity for our community, and that's the opportunity for us as a school district to sign on in a Ford Next Generation Learning Letter of Commitment that allows our Shakopee Public Schools to be part of a hub of 30 or less school districts from across the nation who have learned from basically a course of about 5 years have learned best practices from all of the various ways that academies have made a positive impact for students. For us specifically, what we are entering into is a collaborative approach, community-driven approach, that number one, increases the community prosperity shared by all. I think that's a really important part. Our board has made a real effort to not only look at it for what's best for our students, but what's best for our students in our community. Having students and having adults tour Shakopee and come in to see what we're doing well and right here will have prosperity for our businesses, our hotels, our restaurants. Number two, we are committing to a strengthening talent pipeline. We saw our talent right before our eyes here tonight earlier in the meeting. She's taking advantage of the CAPS program. That's a fresh new approach. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. We're looking for people who find their passion, find their area, strengthen it, and really give our kids that competitive edge ahead of all of their other peers, whether it's for a grant, a scholarship, a college opportunity, whatever that be. The third thing we would be committing to as a board is that we'd have our young people prepared for college, career, lifelong learning, and leadership. The fourth commitment is educational equity and justice for all. Again, what a great way to hammer in number 4 after what we just witnessed this evening. And then lastly, number 5, the capacity to contribute and go further. It would be really easy, I think, to sit back in a couple years and admire the work that we've done. And we all know that that really, for our students, is just the beginning. We have a lot of work that's being done on the curriculum, but once you add the bricks and mortar that we're going to be doing for our kids and our community to the capacity that we can increase with our curriculum, the sky is the limit. And when we open up in the fall of 18, we cannot sit back and celebrate too long, because we have to continue to just get better and better and better if we truly want to be on the top of the academic business here in Minnesota. So what happened was, for those who might be interested, is Ford has to come out and do a 2-visit kind of approach. And they visited, and I want to say we had 80 or 90 of our business folks come and listen to Ford Next Generation last week or so ago. And we had a very successful experience. The 2 representatives from Ford Next Generation visited with my cabinet, some staff. The evening before, they visited with a select group of community representatives to see, is the community really willing to give to the schools, and are the schools prepared to have the capacity to give back to the community? And in particular, we're talking about the business relationships that we know we need to strengthen that talent pipeline. The answer was a very loud, clear, yes, Ford would like us. They want us to be part of the brand. We very much need the expertise. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. If we can, by fall of 18, get the best practices that are out there and make it our own, and then also work with our community and our chamber and our businesses to truly get the internships right, to get the most exciting thing for me is we tend to oftentimes to be real good at kind of oral interpretation of what a plan should look like, but by the time we kind of tell the story over and over, it may shift or change shapes. What we're looking for is, let's put it in writing, much like our strategic directions and our strategic plan of here's what we expect of ourselves, here's what we expect of our students, the characteristics of a graduate, what do we expect from our community. So in your packet, I've included an example of what would be a job description of, and it's only one small example of what would that look like if we were to have someone that worked with the schools, someone that worked with our business community. What would that look like? Now, typically, what we learned is that sometimes it'll be folks that have either retired and want to reinvest, give back to the community, give back to the schools. So we might find somebody that might donate their time. We might find some way to partner and have a split position, 50-50 with the schools and maybe the chamber. We might decide that it's so important to us, we fund it ourselves. Those are some things that we'll have, you know, we get to choose later on down the line, but I included the job description for you because we really do, what we've learned from our CAPS experience is to give our students that experience that this young lady had by going out into the health and medical careers. We're using John, we're using Ed Cox and others to make sure that we get those internships, and then it's the follow-up and making sure it's a quality experience. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. This is a national hub of best practice. They want us, we want to be part of this organization, and I guess I would be interested in any comments or question the board might have, because truly part of our commitment is that we sign off saying that we're ready for this, because this is a big deal. And then I would like us each to, because this does become a legacy moment for us, to put in writing that we are partnering in a national best practice and get on the hub. I would like us all to sign off and make the commitment here tonight if that's where you believe we should go, and then post that for our community, that we're all in. We're willing to make this work, and we know that we have to roll up our sleeves and do what's best for our kids. So, interested in any questions or comments that any of you might have?
My comment would just be fantastic work by the whole district staff. An impressive organization, seeing the results that they've been able to deliver in Nashville, and I'm proud to be affiliated with them and can't wait to sign on.
Having spent time in Nashville with them, learning about them, listening to their vision and their, more importantly, their accomplishments, and what they're doing for students in these communities all over the country. I'm very excited to be a part of this.
I think they add value to us without a doubt, just based on this toolkit that they're bringing to the table. But the fact that we as a district are going at this probably different than other people are, where we get the luxury, and it really is a luxury, to build a facility and an academic program in tandem, as opposed to having to retrofit one or the other. I have to believe that the process we're going to go through is going to add great value to them as well, because they may not have that experience in their toolkit. So I see it as a really solid partnership.
One of the things that I'm pleased about this is the more I've learned about Ford and next generation learning, they don't have any horse in the race. This isn't about cars. This isn't about increasing their bottom line. This is their philanthropic arm saying, we want to do what we can to improve education in this country. It's the dedicated resources to do that. They brought minds together. They've created this phenomenal framework that we then get to benefit from. But they don't, there's no, like I said, there's no ulterior motive. This is just about improving education. And we're committed as a district and as a board already to the academy model. Ford just provides a way for us to tap into a larger network of 30 some odd that are already members of that we can learn from, the toolkit that we're going to have access to. And I'd like to say that in a few words, we're going to be leading it and having people come and model after us. So I'm thrilled that really, this isn't a dollars and cents thing. This is about becoming part of a larger team that we can learn from, benefit from, and also give back to. So I'm thrilled that we have the opportunity to partner. They want us, and that was very clear from the meeting both the night before and the one on Wednesday, I think it was last week, or whatever it was. They want to partner with us, and we're fortunate. They want us on their team, and I feel very fortunate that we're going to join their team. So I'm looking forward to it as well. Any other comments? All right, so the action we're taking, and I think you're actually looking for approval. Would it be a motion to approve signing, Rod, or?
Yeah, if we could, through the signing of the letter of commitment, enter into the partnership. So motion to approve the letter of commitment and enter into partnership with Ford Next Generation.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve our action of signing the letter of commitment, formally joining the Ford Next Generation team, and then committing ourselves to the plan that we're really on, and we already have taken some steps in that direction already, to do so in a way that's meaningful for our district.
Woo.
Thank you. Take a second. Thank you, Angela. Any additional comments? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Circulate this around in this direction.
While you're doing that, just so the community knows too, part of the expectation of Ford Next Generation Learning is that we continue, much like we did with our Listen and Learn, we had to go out and find various committees to help us kind of fulfill the commitment of being in this network. So we'll be offering up opportunities for businesses, business partnerships, community members to help us along the way with some of these steering committees, some of the best practice approaches, and things like that. So from a community standpoint, we continue to need your help. We continue to need you to listen to you as to what you expect of us as we enter into this new area, this great new area of academies, and bringing it to allow our students to get that competitive edge.
Okay, well, that's circulating for signature. We'll kind of wrap up here with a few other things. Do we have any committee reports? Baron?
Carver Star, we are committed to bringing, we got the idea of going from a cooperative to a intermediate. They signed a number for us, which will be 288. It will take place on July 1st. Let's see, we also approved that Buffalo is now a member. They will begin membership July 1st.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? I will say that there was a finance committee meeting tonight, just preceding this meeting, where we talked about some of the financial items, including the long-term maintenance plan that we acted on tonight, but a few other financial items, and I think the plan is to bring those thoughts relative to some of the budgeting discussions we've had about the next few years forward to the board as a whole, probably at the next meeting or two. Timing is TBD, but we'll be bringing those topics that we've already discussed to some degree forward to the entire board, so that will happen shortly. Yes. Other committee reports. Okay. Any other items of note? Rod?
Just the open, not just the open house, but that's already here tomorrow night, and our team, Wald and ICS, is working really hard at getting that open house, and it's going to be a fun afternoon, evening, because we open up, we'll be ready at 4:30 to 6:45, and then we have a real competitive basketball game in the gym later that evening. So a family, if they wanted to come, it's a family-friendly event. While there might be some opportunities to watch something, it's kind of science fair type, for lack of a better description. You hop around to the various stations, and I know we'll have students there doing some technology work. We'll have core members there, teachers there. A lot of our board members are there to ask questions. And so the community magazine came out, and so I'm hoping folks got a little tease of what's to be expected, and now they come and see some more images, and there will be some virtual tours. Our Wald has put together a virtual tour of the outside of the building and so forth with their computer animation. So excited to share that also with the community.
You know, I think with registration starting to fire up even tonight, so people went off to do that. And, you know, I hope people take note at the high school of the new course offerings, and you'll see the new registration guide that Matt and his crew of communications and the teaching and learning office put a lot of time into making that look very professional and having a better flow than it's had in the past. It should explain, you know, how the academy's are gonna be starting to roll out here and all the courses fit, so I'm looking forward to starting to hear some feedback from people on that, so.
Great. I'm gonna check in with cabinet members, see if there's anything that they wanna add. Matt?
I think Rod and Keith covered it there. I don't think I have anything further.
Okay, Brian?
Just, again, for tomorrow night, I know the sixth grade in particular have a lot of fun activities planned for the open house, so that'll be good to see.
Super. Mike? Dave?
You might hear about access testing, which is the test just for our EL students that's standard. And we made a migration to a web-based platform for our advanced testing, which was uneventful. You'll never hear
That's
about
good.
it.
That's what you
Yeah.
want.
That's good.
Congrats. Julie?
We interviewed for our new teaching position on Thursday of this week, so once again, just thank you.
Early to report tonight.
Yep, see everyone at the open house tomorrow.
And I should have started by welcoming someone to our meeting. We have our new liaison from the city council, Kathy Mogul, who has joined us. Kathy, welcome tonight.
Thank you.
Frequently, we will do this at the end of the meeting, and just kind of see if there's anything that anyone cares to share, or just general update information. Anything you care to add?
No, not right now. It's great to hear about the for next generation and moving those steps forward. That's great for the whole entire community.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Sarah? All right, round one up here. Matt?
Had the opportunity to be part of the Lions Club Ice Volleyball event on Saturday. Easy for me to say. I really want to say, yeah, the jump's still frozen. It was pretty cold out there. Actually, it was a lovely day, but the wind was a little biting. But I got the opportunity, was driving people back and forth to parking lots, and had a lot of people share some thoughts on the flyer that came out. So I think there's a lot of buzz about the high school. A lot of people said they want to attend the open house. So.
Good. John?
Nothing, just very much looking forward to tomorrow night.
Sure. Angela?
I'd just like to say congratulations to Taylor on the girls' basketball team, who got her 2,000 point, and also to Stefan on the boys' basketball team, who is now the Sabres' leading top scorer and rebounder, so it's been fun to watch them play.
Absolutely. Scott?
January 27th was the showcase over at the high school. I had an opportunity to spend about 45 minutes there. I think that could be an entire weekend-long event. There were so many different displays, and I just felt like I did the service because I couldn't spend. I got to the point where I said, "Give me your best 15 seconds." That's all I got to do. But so just props to the talented Shakopee High School students. Excellent job.
Just want to say, after I was at the ice golf as well, and after a lot of people spoke about that, we're at the meeting on Wednesday with the Sport Next Generation. A lot of people are very excited about that.
Great. Okay. The only thing I will add is thanks, I think it's already been said, but to our communications team for the outstanding communication tool that went out. I've heard myself some very good things about it. Really well done, communicates a lot of good information, and I think is a good tool for educating our community who's still trying to figure out what exactly are we getting ourselves into, what's this going to look like. And so we encourage you to come to the open house for that, but great job by the communication team and the communications committee, who had representation of staff and board members, et cetera. So a lot of people had their hands in that, so great job. All right, so we have several meetings coming up. I'm not going to run through those, but two things to note. We're talking so much about expanding our high school academies. The reality is, as we've said, this is a program that's beyond high school. This is a district-wide initiative, and it really dominoes down, funnels down, I don't know what terminology to use, but this affects middle schools, this affects elementary, and so we're kicking off two significant committees, one middle school oriented and focused, and one elementary grade focused, because you can't just put the academies in place. You gotta have all the infrastructure behind it that funnels and feeds into it. So those are starting to kick off in earnest. We have board representation. There's a lot of people that are gonna put a lot of time and effort into it, just like they have outside, inside performance, Bach, core, et cetera. So I wanna commend those folks, thank them in advance, but those several dates are on this list. We know we have the open house tomorrow night. We have a learning session is our next meeting, February 22nd, everyone knows that. We have a board meeting March 14th, we have a board meeting March 28th, and then we have a learning session in April. So that's what we had coming up.
Yeah, I would point out, Reggie, that likely on February 22nd, likely we'll have a short regular board meeting as well. I think that our team will be ready for you all to award Vaughn field project that night. So be prepared for that, to see something come through.
Thanks for the heads up on that.
Yeah.
With the 22nd, is the one filled good news or bad news?
It's always good news in Shakopee. We did have, so we had the opening of bids, and we had a fun and eventful bid opening, and at the end of the day, it looks like we're gonna be very close on that project to what we estimated it to be. So we're gonna value engineer with the board's help. It might even be on the 22nd, do some last minute touches, but as it looks, we're gonna be really close on that part of our project.
Excellent. Good question there. Anything else? All right, I will be asking for a motion to adjourn. Thank you. I need a second. Second. Thank you. Happened to look that way. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. We are adjourned.